What's up, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and none of the above? This is DL returning you with Kirby Street League Season 7 content. We got this Week 4 match between Fabionacci and Lunar in the Clodsire division. Doing a post-com here. Let's see how this one goes. So we got Fabi rocking the roster of Urshifu Single, Spectre, Terra Garchomp, Amoonguss, Asilian Gudra, Moltres, Mousehold, Sableye, Deden, and Vaporeon. So pretty top-heavy roster. I think he blew like half of his points on his first 3 Pokemon, but those are some pretty scary first 3 Pokemon, especially Terra Garchomp, a very, very good Terra captain, able to allow it to really circumnavigate a lot of its potential checks. You know, can nuke stuff like Corviknight with Terra Fire and stuff like that. Muscle through like other ground resistances and immunities, fairies with like poison and steel and such. Big issues. I mean, his steel is Asilian Gudra, which doesn't resist dragon or fairy, and then his fairy is a Deden. So Deden is his dragon resist. So that's kind of not nice. I mean, he's got Mousehold is his only form of hazard removal, so he's kind of vulnerable to hazards as well. But like these 3 Pokemon are just so scary. It kind of puts the team on his back. He's doing very well, 3-0 so far. I think he's mostly been bringing just these top 6. I think are very solid. I don't think he's brought the Mouse, Deden. I can't remember if he brought Vaporeon or Sableye or not. And then Vaporeon just not really the Pokemon of old. I mean, no Scald, no Toxic, so all it does is it clicks Surf. It doesn't even have like Heal Bell. It's got Surf, it's got Wish, it's got Baton Pass. But it is fat as all can be and it has Water Absorb. Now let's talk about Lunar's roster. So he's got the one over here on the left. So he's got Great Tusk, Greninja, Heatran, Terra Salamence, Sylveon, Alola, Serena, Oracle, Houndstone, and Terra Rotom Ghost. So immense, just like Garchomp, able to really use that terrestrialization to beat a lot of counters, especially very nice for them as they're both 4 times weak to Ice as well. So it can help them avoid, for example, Ice Shard and different priority moves. Like Salamence also weak to stuff like Accelerock. And then they can also not have to rely on potentially weaker dragon moves like Dragon Claw or ones with downsides like Outrage. So yeah, Lunar I think has a pretty balanced roster here. He's got like a good Fairy Dragon Steel core, pretty decent speed tiers. He does have like this Rotom that kind of overlaps typing with some of his other Pokemon, but is also a Terra Captain. Does different things than like Houndstone, for example, because this is of course no last respects on Houndstone. He's got like Double Dark, which is not so bad. They don't really share any weaknesses. He doesn't have a bulky water type, and his grass is Serena, which is not particularly good. So he's a little weak to water spam. But in terms of the matchup here, I mean, Garchomp is checked by the Great Tusk, which does also get Ice Spinner, which is nice. But Garchomp overall still looks very good, but especially with Terra able to really muscle its way through Sylveon, obviously very threatening to Heatran. And then Urshifu Single, the Great Tusk. I definitely expect a physically defensive Great Tusk to help check the Garchomp and the Urshifu Single Strike. Spectre, I think, should have a pretty much a field day here, because I do believe it is faster than everything on Lunar's roster. He might have to try to revenge kill with something like a Scarf Rotom, but if it's like Calm Mind Spectre, or I believe it's, what's the ghost type berry? Is it Kasib? Might be Kasib berry. I'm blanking on that one. Yeah, and then he doesn't really have like physical priority moves to potentially revenge kill a Spectre. Overquill could potentially be very bulky, and it is a dark type that is neutral to Draining Kiss, which is Spectre's usual, coverage for dark types. So maybe a especially defensive Overquill can help deal with it. But yeah, in terms of revenge killing it, once it gets going, it's a very tall task for him. In terms of Lunar's threats to Fabi's team at Team Preview, Fabi's the one over here. I mean, he's got pretty bad ice resist. His only ice resist is a Vaporeon, and he's also weak to Dragon, so Salamence can definitely go in because Deden is the only Dragon resist on the team. and potentially a Protean Greninja with spamming Ice Beam. It's also very, very scary. So I think those are Lunar's scariest threats here. Garchomp is 2 base speed faster than Salamence, so we can maybe see a Scarf Garchomp to potentially try to revenge kill a DD Mence. That'd probably be the build, the set that I would expect here. Alright, well, let's go to team preview here. So we see Lunar brought the Tusk, the Greninja, Rotom Ghost, Heatran, Salamence, and Serena. So benching stuff like the Overquill, which I thought might be key for dealing with a Spectre. Also benching Sylveon. Versus, interesting, he brought a lot of his low tiers from Fabi. So he's got Spectre and Garchomp, definitely expected both of those. Hisuian Goodra, makes sense. I believe it gets Earthquake to potentially deal with the Heatran, which usually that's its big issue is opposing steals. Sableye, Vaporeon, and Mousehold. So he does bring his hazard removal. I guess Lunar did have quite a few spiker options and toxic spikes between like the Greninja and the Overquill and such. And Lunar brings his spinner as well. So Sableye potential spin blocker as well against the Serena. Should be able to do that quite comfortably. I believe Serena does get play rough still. So yeah, at team preview, the Garchomp, it looks like Lunar pretty heavily. He's got the Tusk, he's got the Serena, so that's a ground resist right there. Salamence, of course, immune to ground but weak to dragon. And the Vaporeon, probably dedicated Pokemon to deal with the Greninja. As I mentioned, he's pretty ice weak and he doesn't really have the best, Vaporeon's the only ice resist on the team. And Greninja, I think, is something he assesses as a big threat. The Hisuian Goodra can also help check that just because it has monstrous special defense. And Greninja doesn't really get a great coverage move for it because it basically just has to click Dark Pulse. So yeah, I think Spectre is probably going to win this game for Fabi looking at team preview because there's no Overquill. There's no like Sylveon to try to hold it back. This is probably like Scarf Rotom, but if it's Calm Mind Spectre, that could be a big problem. Yeah, thinking maybe Fizzstaff Tusk, but with the presence of Serena, it might be a more offensive Tusk. Anyways, and then at the Terra preview, so it looks like, yeah, so it's Terra Mence, and Mence is Terra Fire. That's interesting. So it would be weak to Garchomp Earthquake, though it does also make it immune to burn, so he might have been thinking about the Prankster Will-O-Wisp from the Sableye, so that's kind of interesting. And then in terms of the Garchomp's Terra type, so it's also second last. It looks like it is just Terra Ground, just to try to nuke some stuff. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention Rotom also with Levitate can help do with the ground spam. So yeah, a Tusk lead that make me think it's probably hazards. I'd expect a Wisp to come out here. I just go straight for the knockoff. It has 92% to the Rotom, which was Scarf, no longer. That is disgusting damage. This Rotom just goes for the T-Wave, so it was Scarf T-Wave. Okay, so that might have been a good way to deal with the Spectre. Even if it was Calm Mind, it was the Scarf T-Wave. So that was a smart brand, but bringing this thing hard in, I guess he definitely expected the Wisp to come out. Probably a middle ground would be like a Heatran, which wouldn't have taken as much damage, but yeah, that was rough. Now he just volts on the Hisuian Goodra, which detail, so it reveals detail, which makes me think it's definitely an AV set. And it's probably this thing's most common item. Probably, I don't know what he's trying to fish for, but the detail did not get set up on. So nice double into the Heatran on the Sableye, and he goes for Plume, does not get the burn on the Garchomp. So good luck for Fabi so far. His rocks are up, and the Rotom comes in before rocks, so. And the Garchomp interestingly switches out, so maybe it's a slow Garchomp. You know, why not just go for the kill? Garchomp is naturally faster. Maybe it's like a bulky Garchomp, but I don't see how that would be good in this matchup against like a potential Ice Spin or Tusk. Greninja smacks it, Mence will nuke it. Though being Terra Ground, it does mean it will become neutral to Dragon. So it could be a potential Mence check. If it's like a bulky Garchomp with a Terra Ground. But yeah, I would have just probably hit it, because yeah, obviously this Rotom's going to be fast because of the Scarfer. But it goes out. And he takes the Goodra's Assault Vest, so actually pretty nice how that works out. So the Gudra no longer as bulky on the special side. That definitely opened things up for the Heatran and the Greninja. So here comes Tusk. I expect a ground move to come out here. I know he just goes up for rocks. Sableye comes in to try to spin block, and this should be a free Wisp. If he goes for another knockoff, I guess removing an item could also be very helpful for him. Getting rid of this thing's leftovers definitely can open up a hole for a Garchomp later. And here comes the Wisp finally. And yeah, things are going well for Fabi though so far. He's got rid of the Scarf Rotom. I think Hazards favor him because I think he's definitely got the speed advantage here. So I think his offensive win cons are stronger. And yeah, and now the Tusk has been neutralized for the most part. And now that it's burnt, definitely is not threatening on the Sableye. As long as he can keep this thing reasonably healthy, then he should be able to spin block with the Sableye. He knocks off the pads from Serena. Interesting, so probably trying to avoid like Rough Skin Rocky Helmet chip from Garchomp. Or Flame Body from Moltres as well was on Fabi's bench as he reveals Taunt. So no Dragon Dance will be coming out here as Dragon Tail comes to the Garchomp. Definitely another indication that this is a slow Garchomp, like a bulky one. Detail is negative priority though, but so it's not a Telltale that is slower than Serena that turn, but definitely does appear to be slow and bulky as he brings up the Heatran. So this should be a pretty favorable situation for him. You see if he goes for EQ or maybe another Detail predicting a switch. Or just goes for the EQ, takes the safe chip on Tusk, which is now under half. So Quakes and always going Sableye here, should just get a big recover off. Lunar maybe could have gone for a more offensive play here, but yeah, he's into the Serena, who unfortunately misses another player off as the mouse hold is in, potentially tidy up to get rid of Hazards and get +1, but no, this takes the free U-turn and knocks out the Serena. And here is Vaporeon. I guess he's feeling like if this is Ice Beam Vaporeon and it is Terra Fire Immense, this thing kind of beats the rest of these 4 Pokemon. But he shows the Protean Grass Knot that does a whole 40%. So I'd expect just like an Ice Beam to come out here. Surf, I guess, covers the Heatran, or he goes into his Gudra. I don't know if this is Specs damage, might be. I don't think Vaporeon's particularly heavy, so Grass Knot, I don't think it's a high base power on it. So Ice Beam picks up the Tusk. Is Fabi gonna go for the 6-0? Eats up the Earth Power, gets the Spadef drop, and muscles through the Paralysis. Did mention this thing got EQ for the Heatran. So here comes the Mence. See if he saves the Gudra, goes for the 6-0. Mence goes for Declaw, does a whole 48, and he can't Prankster Wisp this because it's Terra Fire. Good Terra, gets up the D-Dance. We'll see if he gets hit with a potential Prankster Encore. Yeah, he was not in the safe enough health range to go for a Taunt, because he would have died to the next Declaw, but this is a potential Encore opportunity for the Sableye. Does have a free move to a move slot for it here. Yep, there we go. He's Encored in. So probably a switch into Chomp here or something, because he only has knockoff. But I guess he can always just keep Encoring him, actually, because he's Prankster. So he'll just get knocked until he dies. Should be another Encore here. As Lunar wisely switches in the Greninja now on the Encore. Oh, probably not a 6-0. Yep. Unfortunately, Hisuian Gudra gets sacked. I would have gone Vaporeon because I'm a real one. But... oh! The Greninja reveals itself to be likely Scarf. As takes out the Spectre. That crit probably mattered because it's faster than the Spec. So he protects for some more leftovers recovery, but this should be pretty much over here. Remember, the Mence is Terra Fire, and its boots were gotten rid of, so it's coming in at like 17% here. Now, the Garchomp is slow, but as long as the mouse is fast, he just needs to get rid of the Gren and guarantee win. Alright, so Mence is in. This is probably an attacking turn from the Vaporeon, though. Yeah. I mean, I guess Lunar didn't really have any options here. Game's just lost. YOLO Protect. So I don't know what this Vaporeon's last move is if it's not Ice Beam. I guess it's probably Baton Pass. And Garchomp, Grass Knot is a contact move, so yep, gives the Chomp the kill with the rough skin. Very well played from Fabionacci. Very interesting brings, the slow, bulky Garchomp. The Spectre we didn't really get to see much from. Yeah, the Sableye turned out to be a really great bring, the Vaporeon as well. Nice to see that he brings his low tiers here to show out. I liked the Terra Fire from the Salamence on Lunar for the Prankster Wisp, but he definitely did not anticipate Prankster Encore. So nice that Fabi sort of covered all options with this Sableye set. And yeah, definitely favoring the Encore over the Taunt, less prediction reliant. Especially, yeah, Encore very nice into the setup moves, Taunt better against hazards. I like that the mouse came and it got a kill, but it would have been cool to see a mouse hold sweep. But yeah, congratulations to Fabi, moves on to 4-0, and thank you all for watching.